Hi, welcome to my video on the inverse of a parabola, part 1. The previous videos were on the inverse of a linear. Now we're going to do the inverse of a parabola. Find the inverse of each. And notice we have f of x equals x squared. So it's an x squared, so it's a parabola. Remember, a parabola is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, where a cannot be 0, and they belong to the real numbers. A, B, and C belong to the real numbers. Now, we change f of x to a y, and we switch the x and the y, interchange them, and we solve for y. So, plus or minus the square root of x is square root of y squared. So the square root of y squared is y, and this is plus or minus root x. So the inverse, f to the negative 1 of x, is plus or minus x. And just to explain a little bit more on that, I'll explain it once, but not all the time. We have a parabola, and this parabola right here got a vertex of 0, 0, and is opening up because of the positive. So it's a 0, 0 opening up. There it is. 0, 0 opening up. In other words, when x is 1, when x is 1, y is 1. When x is 2, y is 4, etc. When x is negative 1, y is 1. When x is negative 2, y is 4. So if you want to just plot a few points to go along with that, and you say, okay, now I understand. So there's the parabola. And we want to get its inverse. But to explain the inverse, let me do this. Notice I have a plus minus. So that means the f to the negative 1. So the f to the negative 1 is two parts. It's the positive part, root x, and I'm going to use my hand here. I'm going to do the other part, and I want, the reason I'm doing the red is to distinguish the two of them. The pencil working right here. So if the black one, let's say the black one is this one right here. This is x is greater than 0. Notice that x has to be greater than or equal to 0, and that means that y is going to be greater than or equal to 0. So what I'm dealing with is this part right here. Okay, so when I do the graph on that, and let me, so this one is, the vertex on the inverse is 0, 0 right here, but this graph is x is greater than or equal to 0, y, so it's doing this. So this half of the parabola is right here, corresponds. Now I'll take this part and mark it red. Mark this with a red pen. So this one is x is greater than or equal to 0, but x is greater than or equal to 0, and the y is negative, so that means the y is less than or equal to 0. So notice x got to be greater than or equal to 0, but the y is negative, so the y is going to go down. So that means this part here is, so this parabola is made up of two parts. So it's the right side, which is the upper on its inverse, and this is the left side, which is the lower on its inverse. So if you take these ordered pairs, 0, 0, and this one right here is 1, 1, and this one right here is 2, 4, and you did the inverse of 0, 0 is 0, 0. The inverse of 1, 1 is 1, 1, which is right there. And the inverse of 2, 4 is 4, 2. So you can see that's that part. Now, when you take this ordered pairs, that's 0, 0. This is negative 1, 1 right here, and this one right here, just never mind, it was drawing the scale. So this is -2, giving you a 4. And if you want to put it right there, great. Don't just similar, they're across from each other. So 1 is there, and this one is, let's put that one up right there to correspond with this one. So this ordered pair here is, this one is -1, 1. So now it's 1, 1, x is 1, y is -1. And this ordered pair is -2, 4 is 4, -2. So 4, -2. So notice I have the inverse of this parabola is both of these. But notice this is the right side, which is the upper part here. And this is the left side, which is the lower part. So that's when we do an inverse. The inverse of a parabola is still made up of two pieces. But I'm trying to show you how the right side is the upper part of the inverse and the left side is the lower part of the inverse. So let's find some more inverses and continue with our pattern. The p of x is a y. Switch the x and the y's and solve for y. So x plus 3. So this is the square root of y squared, which is plus or minus the square root of x plus 3. So that's y is plus or minus square root of x plus 3. So its inverse p to the -1 is plus or minus x, square root of x plus 3. So this is the p, this is its inverse. And again, this parabola has two parts, as you can see, is moving up. And I just explain again. This is a parabola whose vertex is x is 0, y is -3. So it's right there. And it opens up when x is 0 and y is, okay, when x is 1, y is -2. When x is -1, y is -2. Again, this parabola is doing this. And its inverse, and I'll do the inverse in red, the inverse of the vertex in this one, I better use my pen, the vertex in this one right here is x is 0, y is -3, so there it is there. Now the inverse in this one, it is switched, is -3, 0. So when x is -3, y is 0. So -3, 0 is right here. So, and this parabola is, again, this right side is this, and this left side is this. So it's made up of two pieces. And let's find the inverse of h of x. So the h of x is negative bracket x minus 2 squared. So the h of x is a y. Change the y to an x and an x to a y. And we solve. So notice we have a negative, so we'll multiply both sides by -1. So -1 times x is -x. And this becomes positive. Notice now we got to do, to get at the y, we got to do the square root first. So this is plus or minus the square root of -x is y minus 2. I did the square root of this side, got y minus 2. And this is a plus or minus on this side. So that means that y is plus or minus root of a -x. That's a -2 becomes a +2. So h to the -1 of x is plus or minus root of a -x plus 2. And again, this is a parabola whose vertex is 2, 0. And so this, the vertex here is x is 2, y is 0. X is 2, y is 0 right here. And the parabola is negative, so it's opening down, so it's doing this. And I want its inverse. So if this is 2, 1, the vertex here is going to be, sorry, this is 2, 0. the vertex is going to be 0, 2. So 0, x is 0, y is 2. It's right there. X is 0, y is 2 is right there. And because it's going down, notice that this one goes, when you reflect it, notice it's going sideways. The red is going sideways. And this one will go this way. If you reflect this in the xy axis, so if you reflect, this is y equals x. If you follow the videos that I did before on reflecting, then this 2, 0 becomes 0, 2, and it goes this way. So what happens? This is the right side, and this vertex, this is the right side. So here, the right side is the up, and this is the left side, which is the down. So if you drew the graph and you reflected this by flipping in the xy axis, you would get this. Okay, let's try another one. H of k. All right, h of k. K of x equals x plus 1 squared minus 4. So the k of x is the y. We switch the x's and the y's. And now we solve for y. So x, that's a minus 4, so it's a plus 4. And we do the square root of both sides. The square root of this side is plus minus the root of x plus 4. The square root of x plus 1 squared is just, sorry, y plus 1 squared is y plus 1. So now we have plus or minus the root of x plus 4 minus 1 equals y. So its inverse, which is the k to the negative 1 of x, is plus minus the root of x plus 4 minus 1. And again, if I drew the graph here very quickly, here, the vertex of this parabola, x is negative 1, y is negative 4. And it's a plus, so that means it's opening up. So the vertex is negative 1, negative 4, and it's opening up. So I'm just going to just roughly draw the parabola like this. And so its inverse, the inverse is right here. So the inverse is k to the negative 1 of x plus minus the root of x plus 4 minus 1. So this vertex, when x is negative 4, y is negative 1. Because it's reflected, I just want to make that 4 a little bit better. Notice negative 1, negative 4 becomes negative 4, 1. So underneath the root, notice that x got to be, if you think about it, I better use the red pen. Right here, that the values of x that fit this equation got to be greater than or equal to negative 4. So the vertex is negative 4, negative 1. So let's say that's negative 4, and there's negative 1. And so the parabola goes the other way. So if we reflect that parabola, so again, when you reflect this one, it's moving this way. When you reflect this one, it's moving this way. And this is also positive, so this one is going like this. So this right part here is on the right. So from this vertex here, that's the one that's going up. So that piece right there, there's his inverse. And this piece right here, that's the left side. So that's going down from the negative 4, 1. So that's the right, that's going up, and that's the left, so that's going down. And again, if you reflect it in the line, what line? If you reflect them in the line y equals x, then this parabola becomes this parabola. And I notice I mentioned that there's two pieces. Again, trying to explain that it makes sense. The inverse of a parabola is a, what type of function? Is a square root. So every time we did the inverse of these parabolas, we ended up with a square root. And that's just explaining how a parabola, which is made up of a left and right side, so if the inverse is made up of going sideways, up and down, going sideways, and the right side of a parabola is going up on its inverse, the left side of a parabola is going down on its inverse. And again, if you like my video, click on the like button. Click on the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. Visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. That's the content on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained, all one word. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video helped you. Bye-bye.